Oh, hello there. Welcome to Calico Flower Studio. I'm Dani, and today I'm going to collage in a handmade journal. And this is coming back after a short hiatus from making internet content, but I'm excited to be back, and I hope that you sit back and relax and enjoy the process. You know, as I was setting up my desk today, I was thinking about, well, you know, it's been a while since I have made one of these videos. I was just thinking about how it's nice to return to a kind of ritual, you know, and to ritualize this process. And there's a difference between that and a routine. And I think there can be mindfulness in both things, like in rituals and in routines, but it's like, and you know, this is just the way I think about it, but I think of when I think of something as a ritual, there's something very ceremonial about it. So, you know, I cleared my desk and I laid down my special tablecloth and picked out my materials for the day. I poured myself some tea. I've got my green friend here, and I've got my, you know, just the whole process of setting myself up to, you know, practice. It feels sacred and holy. So I missed that, and I'm happy to be back. So let me show you what I brought today. Oh, well, first of all, let me tell you about this journal. You're probably like, wow, I've never seen that before. So something that since during this time where I've been kind of quiet and not posting and, you know, producing as much content, I guess, I've just been focusing on preparing for a art fair that I'm going to participate in a couple weeks, and also I've been learning a new skill, which is making paper. So I love, well, if you know me or if you follow me on this channel, you know that I love material, and things that attract me to material can be, you know, just the way it feels in my hands and the texture of it, and that is definitely one of the reasons why I was attracted to the craft, the art of making paper. I just love the texture of it, and I love how it's well, you know, an upcycling process. So I used old like paper scraps and shredded them to create these pieces of paper. So this is like recycled paper. It's not like I went down and chopped down a tree and created paper pulp from a tree. This is all from recycled paper, but just like all the different fun things you can do with that process. Like this particular batch of paper has bits of magazine. It's a gardening magazine where you can buy seeds and stuff. So there's some interesting little things that are just, there's remnants of it, you know, you can just see little clues. Not a whole picture, but just a little indication, and you know, it's interesting. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to be working. I made a batch of paper, and this was one of my first. This was my first batch, so it's a little lumpy. I don't know that I would sell this to anybody, but I certainly would use it myself. I just think it's so fascinating. I experimented with painting on it with watercolor, and I think it's pretty interesting. It's different for sure. Something to get used to, but like, how exciting, you know? It's just a whole new world. But anyway, I'm gonna experiment today with actually collaging on this page that I've already watercolored on. And yeah, there we go. That's it. I'm just gonna go with the flow and think out loud and share with you my thoughts as they come. Okay, so let me tell you about what I got. All right, well, I've got a piece of fabric from an old shirt, actually. This was a blouse. I've got a few pieces of tissue paper. I thought it'd be interesting to see how tissue paper adheres to such a textured surface. Since it's so thin, when you get it wet, it really hugs. Tissue paper really hugs the surface once you glue it down because it's so thin. So I'm curious to see how that interacts with this journal. And then this is from an old sheet, a palette sheet that I just saved and cut out. So this is paint on like a piece of wax paper, basically. This is watercolor on watercolor paper. This is a paper towel. This kind of accidentally made its way into the pile, but I said, you know what? Why not? You can join us too. This is another collage on paper. So a painted paper that I collaged onto another sheet of paper, and now I'm going to repurpose that again. This is a piece of fabric. It's, I'm not sure what kind of fabric it is, but it was part of an embroidery that I was working on, and this was a trimmed piece. And finally, these are what I've got over here. These are envelopes. I have a series of handmade journals where I upcycle envelopes, and I had some leftover envelopes, so I used those to cut up and use in the making of some greeting cards. But now I've got scraps from that, so here we are. And I just love the colors. I think they're so yummy. Like this gold color, I love it. We have a lot of this color in our apartment, actually. And this blue is so rich. And I love this red. I love how it's like kind of cool, yet warm at the same time. It's just like, I feel like it looks like candy. I could just lick it. And this one, this is a lovely mint color. It's so rich and vibrant, but also kind of calming. And then of course you've got your gray, which is nice and neutral. It's sort of in between warm and cool. Like, I don't know whether it's a cool gray or a warm gray, so that's kind of interesting too. All right, so let's get started. Oh my god. I forgot my scissors. Let me grab them. Oh no. Okay, hold on. Okay, so for the first time in Calico Flower Studio history, I'm going to be using a different pair of scissors today. It's kind of a weird story, but the lamp, or the sort of like stand that I'm using to hold my camera to film this, is belted to my desk that I'm sitting at right now so that it doesn't fall over. And I've belted it around the drawer that I keep my orange scissors, which you've probably seen me use in every single video. But yeah, so those scissors right now are inaccessible, so we have our blue scissors today. Hey, let's do it. First time for everything. I just kind of want to play with, I feel like this is like a little space, like a magical little space, and I want to fill it with magical shapes and colors. I picked out some of these materials because they have similar colors. We don't like perfect shapes. We want to do interesting shapes. I like this shape just as it is. I don't want to change a thing. I actually love the way the paint creates an interesting edge to this shape. So I'm just gonna cut it out the way it is. I love using paint to collage because there's like this illusion, you know, it's like, oh, was that painted or was it collaged? You know, using paint as an object, and I think we usually think of like as a solid object, and we usually think of paint as a liquid object that is applied, but I think it's so fun to play with it as a solid object that is adhered. Wow, this tea turned out really pretty. So bright. Anyway, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna glue some stuff down, and let's let the ride begin. And just pray that I don't put my paintbrush in my drink. Here we go. Gluing the tissue paper onto the handmade paper. Gotta make sure it's loaded up well, because the thing about this paper is that it's very absorbent. So it, you know, liquid items, liquid stuff, substances, that's what I'm trying to say. Liquid substances do not just sit on the surface. They get sucked up real fast. What do you think the difference between a routine and a ritual is? And what is it about, you know, the task and the way you do it that makes it one or the other? And is it really even what you're doing? Is it even how you're doing it? Or is it more about how it makes you feel? So that's how you feel about what you're doing. Because somebody could, you know, be doing the same thing that I'm doing, and in their mind it's just a routine, you know, it's maybe it's special to them, but then at that point, I don't know. What do you think the difference is? I'm tempted to say it's about how you feel when you do it, what it means to you. You know, maybe to some people, like, for example, like grooming, shaving, or, you know, painting your toenails or whatever. That could just be a routine, you know, it's just something you do to take care of yourself, like brushing your teeth. But maybe to some people, someone else, it's like the only time that they have to spend by themselves to do something for themselves, to access some kind of like connection to their own spirit. So that's something to chew on, for sure. I love when I'm making a collage or something, or working in a journal like this. The stakes are pretty low. I love setting things down and being like, okay, you know, and sort of planning out like where I'm going to put stuff, where I'm going to glue things down, and then I go to put the glue or on the piece, and then I go to lay it down, and at the very last second I'm like, I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to put it somewhere different. You can make plans, but those plans always are subject to change, right? You can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. My goodness. Ooh, you know what? I love how this red kind of interacts with the green behind it, and these leaves. I like it. It belongs over here. I think this is a great little environment for it. What about this one though? Does this one live over here too? Let's just start with this and see how it goes. Just gotta put my fingers on it. Ooh, this feels weird, inappropriate. Just forget what I said. All right, what to do with you? Anything? Maybe nothing. I'm being so random about my placement right now. So, there is a piece of like the magazine that I used to make this paper, and I don't know why, it just like I love it. I want to preserve it. And I've said before here, and I'll say it again, making art, and definitely when you're making collages, and you're covering things, and using lots of layering of things, you have to make choices about what you want to preserve and what you are okay with covering up and just saying goodbye to. Well, here's an example of something that I would like to preserve because I think it's interesting. Just this like little part of the paper. It's just OU. Ooh. I don't know what that was for, where it came from, but I mean, I know where it came from, but like what the context of it was. But I almost just want to use this little red dot and just put it next to that little subtle tiny detail that I find so interesting. And by putting this big red dot right next to it, it brings your attention to this. Because this is not very interesting, but it certainly gets your attention. This is interesting though. So this is the thing that draws you in, and this is what keeps you looking. I think that's interesting to think about too when making larger works. You know, you can look at the piece. If you're working on a piece, it's so important to step away from it, and to experience the piece from a distance, so that because your experience of it from far away is going to be so different than when you are standing right in front of it very closely, observing all the details. So it's good to examine what is it that draws me in and what is it that keeps me there. Both experiences are important, right? Okay, here let's play with this actually. So this is this is paper, not a napkin, it's paper towel. Yeah, same thing. So it's like 2-ply, I think is the terminology, the ply. So it was like this. And I'm gonna pull apart the ply, to make it thinner, just like tissue paper, so it'll hug the surface and be a little bit more translucent once it's wet. Because it's got this interesting pattern on it, I want that to almost seem like it's embedded in the surface of this. It's just sort of like a translucent layer. I'm struggling with what to do with this. If I should keep it or say goodbye. See, decisions. Ooh, that's kind of neat. I want to lift this up though. Put it there. I like that. I like this little corner pointing to this. It's almost, you know, like this is a little tomato and this is the little tomato leaf. And here's another tomato and some tomato leaves, right? I guess it's the season. All right, I don't know what's going on with me. I have a lot of funny voices today. Just bear with me. So I'm using my left hand to hold down half of the material to hold it in place. And I'm gluing down one half of the piece. You know, I'm lifting up this half, gluing it down. And now that this half is glued down, I can let go and this will remain where I want it to remain. It's sort of like the anchor. It's anchoring down the material. And then I will do the other side. Yeah, I'm definitely using less water with this glue today because this paper, like I said earlier, is very absorbent. However, I will go back over the top of this material with a little bit more of a wet brush, because that helps, that sort of enhances that clinging effect that you get with thinner material when you're gluing it down. You want it to be wet. Kind of like when you do paper mache. A little water. It's almost like the other material just sort of disappears. Almost, not quite, but almost. Now, what can I do? I want to start putting in, like, I want to echo some of the shapes and patterns and things that I started, excuse me, that I've started with the watercolor. Okay, so I've got some shapes, some motifs, some patterns, and I just want to use the collage material to recreate those patterns and shapes. However, because it's in the collage layer, it's going to add a kind of depth to that. So it's repetition, but in a different way. So I'm going to use this paper to make some leafy shapes. That's kind of mostly what I've got here. Or maybe just some little dots. We'll see. Wow, this color is so interesting against the color of the handmade paper. This handmade paper, oh my god. I was like shocked by the color of it because I was not expecting that. I used some like yellow construction paper that was just like, you know, scrap paper. You know, it wasn't going to be used by anybody really for anything. So just threw it in the batch, and I had my magazine, and I think I had a little bit of like just plain white scrap paper, like computer paper that was printed on or something. But when I threw all of it together, ooh man, especially when it was like a pulp, before I, you know, lifted it and squeegeed it and made it into a sheet of paper, when it was just like pulp and water, oh, it looked like vomit, and it had this weird smell. So yeah, it's been an interesting experience. I'm learning so much, like, about this process of making paper. But it's like this green color. It looks much better now that it's dry. You know, it's interesting. But I'm actually, I feel like it's a really great springboard for other colors, because it's it's almost gray. It's like gray with green overtones, which actually provides an interesting backdrop to contrast other colors against it. Well, first I'm seeing this piece of collage here, this orange thing. I think they're carrots. That actually is part of the paper. that was a result of the paper making process. And then these green dashes I painted, and it almost looks like this is like a little fat little carrot, and then these are like leaves coming out of the top of the carrot. So I'm gonna continue responding to that with these pieces and just continuing the flow. Yeah, for sure. Actually, this is a pretty good trick here with these little pieces. Lay down the glue, and then just use the paintbrush, the gluey paintbrush, to just pick up the piece, stick it there, and you don't have to get gluey fingies. See, I am human. Hear me roar. I am so smart. I use tools. Oh, oops. Cool. Let's keep going. What other colors should I use? Let's do blue. Just rip a piece. Rip it. Just rip it. Oh, I gotta use this little guy. It's a little thick though. It's gotta be on a smooth surface. Oh no, I don't want to cover up my OU. What about there? Well, whatever. We don't need to worry about that right now. Let's do dots. Look at this. It looks like a bug is like chewing its way through my... Oh, look at that. Ah, rah, rah. Baby shark doo doo. Just kidding. Oh my god. Get it out of my head right now. Get it out. Get it out. Alright guys, we need a new song. Let's get a new song stuck in our heads. Almost there. I just want to use all of this little scrap here. And then I'll put down the little polka dots. I just love, I love pattern. It's like, I love repetition. I love imperfect patterns and varied repetition. Alright, so where do we want to put these little dots? We, as if you get to choose. That's okay. I'll do my best. And I hope you approve. So, actually, I don't care if you approve. Let's do blue on blue. We don't want pieces to be too consistently close or far away from each other. We want variation. That's the spice of life. Variety, right? Isn't that what they say? Variety is the spice of life. Of life. I keep saying it like that. I guess today I'm just feeling like being myself completely as I'm doing this. And so this inner dialogue that you are, you just get to listen to out loud is like kind of unfiltered. And this is what it really sounds like inside my brain, so enjoy. I'm sad that Dahlia and Clover don't join me as much on this table. And you want to know why? I think it's because when Nick and I moved into this new apartment, we got a new bed, and it's right behind me. I'm like, my desk is like sitting in front of it, and it is very comfy. And Dahlia is sleeping on it right now. And the cats love our new bed, so I think they've just decided, you know what, I'm gonna hang out over here because it's comfy. But one can still hope. Okay, so I don't want to cover up too much of this purple area because I really like that. I want to preserve that. So we'll do one more little guy just kind of like floating off away from the bunch right here. And then everybody else, I think I'm going to bring over here, kind of over this way. Cool. I'm digging it. Digging it. I almost want to like step away from this now and come back on another time, or do like a part 2, because this has taken some time and I value your time, so maybe this would be a good place to stop for today, and then I'll do a part 2 another day. So stay tuned for part 2 of this 2-page spread. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my rambling. I hope that there was some great food for thought, and that, you know, you just had a peaceful, relaxing, thought-provoking experience. And I will see you next time. Love ya. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends about me, tell your foes about me, and peace out. So here's the belt that's trapped my scissors. And here's that lovely bed I was talking about, and the baby who has been enjoying it very much. Dahlia, you don't want to watch me make art anymore. Oh, hello. It's okay. Everyone just wants to see you. They love you. All right, well, have a wonderful rest of the day. I love you.